All right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're back today. We're playing more Call of Cthulhu. We're continuing our Eternalized campaign. We're starting up with a character death right off the bat, so it's going to be very exciting. And by the end of the episode, we might meet that new character. We got to shake the party up, I think, right?
I mean,
good job, guys.
we just need.
The mute button is in a different spot.
I know. I'm like, fuck.
Oh my god.
We were talking about this, but I don't think so. Like we Pastor Wood was the sacrifice.
We already the party.
Yeah, but we should kill a character that people like now. You know,
I can't lose two characters
now.
Don't worry.
I
if
grew
we're
up
killing
people
somebody
like
we'd
Moss,
like,
you know?
that's not going to happen today. Oh, man. Get a lot of hate mail about Will. I really do. Literally in my mailbox. It's so strange. Like, because I don't know how they got my address. But
It's
they're
your
like,
neighbor.
Hey,
like
Will
they
stuff.
just run across the street and they're like, "Fuck this guy."
Yeah. We got some old neighbors though. I don't know if they watch Twitch streams. I don't think they know what Twitch is. We live
I'm gonna
in
guess no.
in a neighborhood that skews older. Yeah, we'll say. Hey, doing Long is here today. Why are you here today? You were going to miss. What happened? What happened, Long? Why are you here?
I didn't place well in my tournament I was attending, but I'm always here. What do you mean?
Why? Okay.
Good answer. What do you mean? I'm here.
All right.
Speaking of here, welcome Raiders from Myth Machine. Welcome on in.
Awesome. What happened to Steven? This is so weird. Something happened. He froze. Now let me bring him back. There he is. What happened to you there, big guy?
Browser crashed. I don't know. No idea what that was.
Also, thank you for the raid. By the way, Steven wanted to hog the thanks that we were about to give to the raid. He had to interrupt it.
I wanted to steal all the attention.
It's kind of what he does. So, but thank you so much for that raid there, Mission Machine. We're going to get back to our campaign. We're on episode 50. I've been saying it's such an important number that we need to do something really, really special. And I think killing a character. Do we remember what episode number it was? Did anyone ever look that up? What episode number Pastor Wood died?
I want to say 29 because I did look it up.
Looked it up last time.
Yeah, we were just shy of 30.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think we're due.
I agree. Like it's a Call of Cthulhu campaign, you know? Like this isn't you're not heroic.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of got robbed from Bangkok. I feel like I should have had one. I should have had one.
I mean,
that was insane.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know why both Long and I made it like that doesn't feel right.
Generally,
still.
the roles with Pat that still the fight. I feel like his roles were pretty intense.
That was wild.
Had they been normal roles, I think he would have died. But instead, Long did not run it down. Long did a great job. Read it up.
We're throwing around lingo.
There it is.
We know what it means. Some of us know what it means. Some of us just know what it's a reference to.
All right. Well,
you wouldn't get.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I don't think Melissa's ever played League. I don't think I've ever introduced that to her.
He's a little jealous that he never got to play with us when we were playing.
It's a shame.
I only played for like a month. I never got that into it.
That makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, let's dive in. Let's do a little recap so you all remember where we're at. It's been a couple of weeks. You all are in Ethiopia, of course. You have been traveling across Ethiopia with some French Foreign Legion friends of yours who are helping you get to this volcanic dig site that was a place where George Ayres, professor at UCLA and tied to the Echeverria cult in LA, had left for like something about 12, 13 years ago. And you were sort of trying to track him down in some ways, trying to figure out what you could. And you also heard some rumors about like ancient Afar practices that might help Patrick and with his mouth situation that has been growing on his arm. And so that's kind of your purpose here in Ethiopia, right? You've also heard and seen some strange things along the way. And you've heard that there is effectively a cult of the agony of the wind that has been brewing within Dalal. Now, the old dig site was destroyed by a volcanic eruption that you all learned was possibly, if you trust Maitreyi and Jerome, was actually created or at least instigated by the Guardians. Why it's not like an official capital G name. It's just a group of people who have been for a very long time doing their best to keep whatever this entity or creature or thing is that is the agony of the wind from overtaking the region. So we picked up last time. We were at that dig site. You were searching around a bit, and you found a cairn that had a couple bodies in it. There was also an inscribed message on top in English that referenced the place called the Dream Scourged Halls of Olaf-Thwach. And Bev, you wanted to confirm the deaths a bit, so you all dug up the cairn, and a few of you did. And you started investigating as best you can. And from what you can conclude, all of the bodies in there were Afar people. They're most likely laborers during the dig site. Will, you had a rest for a bit because the sun, the heat had finally gotten to you in a way that was severely dangerous. So you made this little shelter to try to avoid direct sunlight or direct heat in some ways. Others were searching a bit. Patrick, you confirmed after some really intense searching that there is absolutely no path whatsoever back down into this buried temple that they were originally digging up back in the 1920s, and the volcano buried it once more. There's no way possibly down. You also found around the crater there were all sorts of teeth. So many of you were collecting teeth like you would collect teeth, shark teeth along a beach. And there were all sorts of different varieties, but there were suggestions that perhaps they came from the same creature, strangely enough. There were a bunch of other weird occurrences that went down, usually at night. Marie, at one point, you thought a tent was eating Will, basically. Will, you heard chanting one night, and when you investigated, you found a field of hands that were sticking up from the ground in this sort of position of worship. You started firing at them. No one could confirm that these experiences actually happened. But multiple investigators did see people on the far ridge of the crater observing your camp. No one made any direct contact. They didn't come to see you. You didn't go to see them, but you did. You are certain that something or some people were looking at you. You talked with Jerome a bit, and he agreed eventually to take you all west. There was definitely a lot of uncertainty about which direction you were to go, but you want to follow on the trails. There's the presumption that the inscription on the cairn, since it was in English, was likely done by George Ayres himself. You've heard that he was alive at some point following the volcanic eruption, that the Guardians had taken him in at some point, but then he had gone missing. He kind of went on, he just disappeared, and he just disappeared into like the western reaches of the desert. So you are presuming that you're following in his trails towards the dream-scourged halls of Olaf-Thwach. Jerome was nervous because it's a very dangerous travel path, and that he wasn't sure all of you would return. And along the way, within a few days, a terrible dust storm rose up once more, separated the group. Shyma, you heard the voice of Pastor Wood. Speaking of Pastor Wood, you saw him standing a little bit away from you in the strange sand. But as you went towards him, he disappeared, and you fell down this ridge. But even worse than that was poor Bev, who had hopped down off of her camel at one point, and as she did, the ground beneath her gave way, and she fell into a pit. And the last thing we saw were the walls of this pit, which are sand, beginning to break and spill. And we saw about a dozen black scorpions come pouring out of the walls and filling up the pit with her. And so that's where we're at. The storm is still going on. So Marie, Will, Patrick, you all managed to find some temporary shelter, but just as soon as you like hide behind like a shrub that you find somewhere in the desert land, like it gets uprooted and thrown away. Or if you find yourself next to this outcropping of rock, it kind of cracks and tips over and threatens to fall on top of you. So you know you're not fully in safety yet. But you're in this pit, and the above you, about 10 feet at most, is the top. And you can see the walls themselves are sand. There's really no hard rock that you can see particularly. And you can see falling from different patches of sand and dirt on the sides of this wall. are these scorpions. You've seen these scorpions before. You know that I would say you would know that these are the same ones that really, really harmed Patrick. And that was just with one bite. And now all of these, or one sting, now all of these are coming at you. So Bev, what are you doing? What are you thinking? Maybe talk about a little bit about the panic that you're in, and then tell me what you think you're going to try to do here to avoid dying.
It's Beverly is very panicked. She saw the wound afterwards and just how sluggish that made Patrick. And, he seems to be, aside from like Shyma, he's just always been very capable, for our group. And, especially since everything we had to deal with back at the beginning in California and then surviving Bangkok. And, so she's terrified herself of getting stung with this because she knows that this is a life or death situation for her. The storm is still raging above. And even despite that, she's still screaming as she is kind of like swiping out with like an extra piece of fabric that she has to try, or like a stick if there's a root sticking out, to try and just keep these away from her and keep like a radius of where they can't sting her.
You want a stick? You want there to be like a stick down here? Give me 10 luck.
Roll luck.
No, give me spend 10 luck.
I'll spend 10 luck for a stick.
That part of the fall, maybe it was either something from your equipment that's packed up on the camel, or maybe it was just you were nearby one of these desert shrubs and part of it fell down here with you. Absolutely. Okay, so you have something down here.
10 luck for a torch.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean,
you want a torch?
Could try and burn it.
Torch, 80 luck.
No, I've got my stick.
Okay, so you got your stick.
As long as it's below 30, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Bev, what are you doing?
She's just kind of swinging that out to try and knock any away from her that are trying to get too close.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
You're in a pit, so there's not a ton of room, and like they're falling from above in some kinds. So like you're like swiping them off your shoulder here. They're coming at your feet, and so you're swinging
she's
over
like
the place,
stomping, swinging. Yeah. She's just kind of honestly freaking out.
Yeah, give me like a brawl test just to see if you're able to keep them at bay.
Okay. I would like a boost.
Okay.
For a 44.
Okay, shooting for a 44. Look at you.
17.
Okay. Hard success. One of them falls, like I said, right into your hair, and right as is about to sink its stinger, like right into your neck, which would be one of the worst places to put it, you manage to swipe it away. It lands, falls amongst this tangle of scorpions that begin to surround you, but you are backing as best you can into one side of this pit, swiping away at them, keeping them at a distance. You see a few of them, the tails sting out, you move a foot, and they sting out again, and you move the other foot, and then you can stab one or two with the edge of the stick as well. You start to feel more of the wall begin to crumble behind you. You see others begin to fall as well. All the while, the sandstorm is swirling, and you can feel, when you look down, that the pit is rising with sand, meaning you're being buried. Mm-hmm. But we're going to cut from you as you can think more about what you're doing. Is so far you have avoided being stung by a scorpion. Let's go to the rest of you. So Will, Marie, Patrick, you all, the three of you, managed to keep in relative close contact with Jerome. You can kind of see shapes of each other. It's not perfect. Some of you, I'm sure, are covering your eyes as best you can. But when you look around, you realize the numbers aren't quite right. And not only that, there's something in the wind. You look up and you see this dark shape that at first you think might just be somebody else coming, like it might be Bev or it might be Shyma. And then you have to duck as this boulder the size of your head that swings right by you and smashes onto the ground into 1,000 pieces. You all hear the sounds of this high-pitched screech that seems to come along with it. What all are you doing as the storm continues to pelt you, now with larger and larger debris? What all are you doing to try to continue to keep yourselves safe, and maybe even to find what you now believe are your missing friends?
I think almost sort of like a Marco Polo kind of a thing of just like trying to shout a bit of like, Marie, I'm over here. Marie. Waiting.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Patrick?
Okay. I think you guys are all, I'm gonna give you credit saying you guys are already relatively close to one another. So it's less about you all finding, the three of you finding each other. It's more about you all finding more shelter as yet another one of these head-sized boulders nearly rains down and smashes against you. That high-pitched squeal on the wind as well. And you don't see any signs of Shyma or Bev. So I'm looking for, what are the three of you doing to take shelter from this barrage of sand and rock, and also potentially, if you want, to try to find Shyma and Bev?
I think Will would be thinking that outlasting the storm is the only option. Like, how are you going to find someone when you can't see more than a few feet in front of you? So he would be essentially getting as low to the ground as he can and just trying to find any sort of like crevice in the earth or anything that's just like a slight depression, just so most of this stuff can go over us.
Okay. I'll take either a survival test, normal difficulty, or I'll take a spot hidden hard difficulty. It's your choice.
I miss Pat. Wood's spot hidden was so good. 45 on Will.
Okay. Give it a go.
43. That's a regular success.
Nice.
You hit the ground at one point. You hear the sounds of Marie's and Patrick's voices nearby. It sounds as though they found each other. You climb around and you drop to the ground at one point. Your camel starts to trot free. And you just look and you look and you look. And eventually you reach down and you feel the earth tip. It's hardened earth. You realize you're on some kind of like rocky embankment and you climb down into it. And you're pretty sure you're probably going to get covered in some sand here and there, but it's not so deep like Bev where you're going to be buried alive. So you seem to have gotten into safety. Patrick or Marie, what is it you're doing here?
I focus my sights onto Jerome. I rely on him for my survival. He knows what he's doing. Keep an eye on him.
Give me a spot hidden, hard success required to see if you can see him and follow and do what he's doing. Okay.
That does not look good.
That does not look good at all. Okay. You see a dark mass amongst the wind in the sand as you look forward. And as you move towards it, you think maybe it's Jerome leading his camel. But when you get there, you realize it's just this outcropping of rock that sticks high into the sky. And right as you step next to it, the top breaks off and falls down. Give me a D10 roll, Patrick.
Uh-oh.
A 10.
Okay. You hear the sounds of "look out," and as you dodge out of the way of this rock that nearly falls and pierces you, you look up and you can see almost with great clarity. You see a profile that you haven't seen in a while. Your old PP gang buddy. You see Pastor Wood. You see his hat is on and somehow not affected by the crazy swirling wind in front of you. And you can see he's motioning you and he's motioning you. It's like, this way, this way.
I'll follow it.
Okay. You start to follow. And then as you take like maybe 4 or 5 steps, you realize, like, as he's screaming towards, and first sounds like English, you realize his voice starts to change and starts to manipulate. It starts to like undulate in some ways. And then you hear that sibilance sound that you've heard in so many of these like cultists and thugs that you fought here and there. And the voice changes. And you realize it's still his body. It's still his tone, but he's suddenly no longer speaking English, and he's still motioning you towards. I need you to roll a sand test, Patrick.
28 is a pass on my 34.
Nice.
Okay.
Hell yes.
Before you get so close, you realize that it's not him, and you stop. And when you look down, you see your foot is about 2 inches from the edge of what looks like some kind of cliff. You're not sure how far down it would be, but had you gone even a step closer, you would have fallen. And he was just kind of hovering out in the sky. And when you look up, he gives you this big, wide grin. And then you see he gets blown away as the darkened portions of his clothes suddenly become a part of the sandstorm itself. Marie, what are you doing?
So Marie's consideration is that if she's trying to get cover, camels are big. So that's what she wants to try to do, is kind of locate a camel and see if she can kind of get the camel down on the ground so that she can kind of get behind her.
Okay.
You know, that's what she's thinking for
Animal handling. Animal handling.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
All right. I'm trying to roll under 60. And son of a biscuit, rolled an 80.
Okay. Do you want to spend luck? You can always spend luck.
I have 36 luck.
It's up to you.
So I'll hold. Can I?
Okay.
Maybe. All right. I'm debating if I want to push.
If you can do that too, if you like. Absolutely.
It worked for Beverly.
It worked great for her.
I want to recenter the luck of the universe on pushing.
You're gonna push? Okay.
Yes.
So you're trying.
Yes.
Your first commands, like as you're just trying to pull the camel down, wasn't working. Maybe now, what do you think? You like go around to its front and you try to like, you're kind to it. Like what are you doing that's different as you push?
I think at first she was like freaked out, like get down. And then she kind of remembered that she had been singing earlier. And so that's sort of her like, okay, I've got to take deep breaths. I've got to like calm myself down and start kind of singing the song that she was singing earlier. And then hopefully that will work better.
All right. I like it. Go for it.
Oh, 64.
Okay. Unfortunately, that is a fail.
It is a fail.
So what I'm going to say as a means of, because whenever you push back, something worse is going to happen.
Yeah,
so 2 things are going to happen to you here. One is the default for what's going to happen in the counter, and one is this little extra tidbit. And that's that as you're singing, the camel kind of like rears back and then almost like a snake lunges forward and bites you right on the chin and then runs past you, knocking you to the ground. Roll a D10, please.
Okay. 9.
Okay. All right. First, you're going to take a point of damage from the bite. It's nothing too crazy, but it's going to be noticeable and it stings and it's bleeding.
Okay.
Secondly, re-roll that actually. Re-roll the D10. We've done that one a couple times. I don't want to keep doing the same encounter.
5.
Okay. All right. As you go to stand up, you are literally now in the open. There's no one around you. Your camel is gone. You are taking this abrasive, suffocating dust from all directions now. And not only is it getting hit by it, but you realize as the sand pelts you, it's getting in your eyes, it's getting in your ears, it's starting to clog your nose. You open your mouth to sing or to scream, and the sand comes in there, and you begin to effectively suffocate.
Oh, gosh.
And you are going to take 1 more point of damage. And you can no longer breathe. Okay. When I come around to you, when you say you're choking essentially and suffocating on the sand until you clear it. Okay. We're going to check in with Shyma.
She looks like she's desperately trying to scream, and probably no one can see her because of the wind, but she's like trying desperately to scream and like nothing is coming out.
We come back to Shyma. Shyma, the last we saw of you, you lunged much like Patrick did in the direction a handful of feet away where Pastor Wood was, but then you fell down this ridge and went tumbling and tumbling and tumbling, rocks scraping and hitting you along the way. You eventually land and you come to a stop at what you think is some kind of, some sort of solid ground. You make this stand up. You're still getting pelted with wind and dust. You no longer hear the sounds of Pastor Woods. You no longer see any signs of your friends, of your camel. You are all alone. What is Shyma doing at this point as you're just constantly getting hit from every direction?
So Shyma's first instinct is to just kind of bolt away from the situation. But she has been spending time with John, so I think she is learned that, like, with sandstorms, you don't know the edge of the sandstorm. So there's no a way that you can run. So I think she is looking for something fairly nearby that she can kind of duck behind or hide behind. If there's no like big rock that she can hide behind, she's just going to dig a shallow trench that she can try and like hunker down in.
All right, let's do. So it's either going to be spot hidden hard or a survival test, normal difficulty. One of those two. Whichever your
I'll
preference
give you a
is.
spot hidden if you're okay with it.
Absolutely. Just a little harder to see because you're really just focusing on your eyes. You're looking around. You're looking around.
Of course.
Okay.
34 under 78.
Excellent. You notice you're at the base of some kind of ridge, and although it was very painful popping down and hitting all the walk, it is hard rock. And you do see along the base here, there are all of these chunks of rock that are sticking up, some of them very sharp and violent. And had you landed on them, it could have been a whole different story for you. But now, just as cover, you think it could work. So you rush over, you duck down beneath him, and you realize like half of the wind now you're being protected against. You're still getting hit a little bit, but it's not as violent and as terrible before, and you're able to catch your breath. You have abrasions, scrapes, little bits of little bruises and blood on you, but you're finally kind of seeming to get yourself in a moment of safety. Okay. Then come back to Bev. Bev, you are swinging away at these scorpions. The pit itself is beginning to fill with sand. You can realize it's kind of getting up to your ankles. It's very loose sand. So every time you put your foot down, it starts to sink into it. The scorpions seem to have much less trouble actually swimming and moving through it. And they're still coming for you. A few more you see breaking from the very tops of the walls of the pit and fall down again, trying to just land on your hair. One of them, you feel for a second, it's like crawling up your arm. You manage to swipe it away at the last second. Bev, what are you doing?
So I would like to use my pulp talent because so we've established in actual situations she has 0 to no experience, but I like to think like she's at least read like a safety manual of like what to do in the desert at one point in time, like at the beginning of some sort of very cushy like glamping expedition that she's been on before. But like it was never anything that she had to actually like use, but to see if she can remember anything of like what to do when you're potentially going to be buried in sand and like how to get out of it.
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead and roll your no roll. So that should be an education roll, we'll say. And I think because you've got photographic memory, you get a bonus
die. Yeah.
It feels like a very 1980s like quicksand. How to get out of quicksand, because I thought there was going to be quicksand.
Yeah, kind of. There's quicksand everywhere.
Come
and drugs, apparently. I'm very disappointed.
Okay. And then no would just be, would that
education.
Be intellect then? Education. Got it.
No is education. Idea is intellect.
Thank you.
Okay. Some good rolls in there, I see.
15.
Ooh.
You realize, Beth, that there's a couple, I mean, obviously it's different depending on whether it's an avalanche or whether it's sand, stuff like that. But maybe at some point you had planned to go on one of these sort of desert digs. But it occurs to you that one of the ways what you basically need to figure out is a way to give yourself a foundation, a sturdy foundation. And you realize you have this stick in your hand. The pit is very narrow. And if you reach above, you might have the opportunity to kind of stab it into either side, almost like it's a shower rod. And if you stab it into either side, you might be able to get some leverage to pull yourself up towards the rim of the pit. And that might be a way for you to get out.
Then she's going to try it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's going to require, and you can pitch anything you want, but this is a physical thing now. So
yes, it is.
I would take a climb test. I would take a jump test to jump really high and like stab it as you jump. I would take a straight up strength test. So if you do strength, I'm going to want a hard success. Same thing with
Okay.
Dex. I would take a Dex test, but it would be hard. If you roll attributes, I would want a harder success. Skills can roll normal.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm going to try jump.
Okay.
Or no.
It's up to you. I'm going to have this double as not just you escaping it, trying to escape the pit, but also avoid, because normally I would be asking you to roll to avoid the scorpions. This is kind of doubling as both. So this is going to give you a 2-for-1 if you succeed.
Yeah, we're going to try jump.
Okay.
I would
Final
like
answer?
1 boost, so I'm shooting for 40.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh, that's low. Oh, that's low.
Okay.
50. I would like
You
to
got the luck.
spend the luck to pass.
Absolutely. Spend your
Nice.
20
Hell
luck.
yes.
And we see Bev, you're like constantly lifting your feet up, and you realize the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get, because you're not going to be able to find any way to get your body up, because too much of your legs are going to be buried. And so finally you just leap up and you just stab one side of this stick you have into the side of the pit. And then as you're kind of hanging from it, you manage to turn it and bury it in the other side. And so there you are, hanging in this about 10-foot deep pit. You're, I don't know, what are you, about like 5.5 feet or something like that,
Yeah,
Bev? So you're just kind of like dangling there. Yeah. And your feet are maybe like 2 feet above where the scorpions now have nested. And so there you are right now. So you're still in the pit, but you're not
Dangling
being
above
buried and you're not being attacked by scorpions right now. Okay. All right. Last we saw Will, you have crawled in. You are in safety. You have to make no more rolls. You are good to go. Okay. Marie and Patrick, however, both of you had some trouble. Marie, you got bit by a camel and you're choking. Patrick, you chased after the familiar voice and silhouette of Pastor Wood, and things didn't go particularly well for you. However, you managed to, at the last second, realize this can't be right. But you're still stuck out and at the edge of this cliff. So, Patrick, what do you do next to try to find some shelter? Try to protect yourself, because you realize your skin is being torn away. You can feel it just ripping apart your skin. What would you like to do?
I'll just brute force through the storm until I land into something.
Okay. So brute force, like you're just moving and moving. It could be spot hidden again. We could do another one of those. Survival. Spot hidden would need to be hard success. Survival would be fine.
What if I dodge the debris that's flying around?
That doesn't really get you out of the storm. That just yeah.
I'll have to find something then.
Survival feels like
survival's so bad though.
Right.
I hear you.
Like, I have a better chance. Only one trained for this climate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would take a spot hidden at a hard success though. If you wanted to do that, I would take that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep trying for that.
Okay, go for it.
49. I'll spend luck to make it hard.
Okay. You do one of those moments where a big gust of wind hits your back and you as you nearly fall off the ridge. And as you back away, you look around and as you start trying to push back your arm over your face to try to protect it as best you can, you hear the mouth kind of snaps at your face in some ways, but you keep it at a distance to where you're safe. And then your foot almost gives way and you realize you're on hard ground now. And much like Will, you see this shallow crevice. You just climb down into it, cover your head, keep your arm at bay. And you too have now found shelter to ride out the rest of the storm. Marie, last we saw you were choking to death. So you can, at the start of your turn, you can roll. You're going to take some damage. You're going to take damage every single round until you are clear of the storm.
Oh dear.
But you can roll a hard constitution test to potentially mitigate some of the damage. So give me a contest.
Oh, okay. A hard contest. I'm trying to get 25. So I'll take a boost to try to be under 35.
Yeah.
I rolled a 20.
A 20. Nice. Fantastic. Okay. So So that means it's going to bring you down to you're just going to take 1 point of damage from this. Otherwise, you would have been taking 3. Okay.
Oof.
But you're still not, obviously you're still choking. First of all, you're still stuck in the storm. Your face is constantly being pelted by the sand. You need to do something to try to get out of this, to try to find a place where you're not getting pelted so you can finally just vomit whatever that compacted sand in your throat is. What would you like to do to try to accomplish this?
Can I try to do spot hidden just to try to find a place to...
Yeah. Spot hidden at hard is fine.
Okay. All right. So spot hidden at hard, I'm trying to roll under 36.
Okay.
It's 58.
22 points of luck.
Yeah. My gosh.
I love it. I love it when I get the
Why don't you
luck.
push?
No. I'm pushing at 36.
Okay. Wherever it
God.
is that... Are you spending it?
14
Spending
luck left. Yes.
Okay. Wherever Will and Patrick have managed to find these rivulets, these small, shallow rivulets in the ground, you too find one, and you hunker down and you begin to try to vomit up the rest of that sand. Okay. The only person right now who is not out of the woods, so to speak, is Bev. Bev, you're dangling. Climb test would get you up and out of the pit.
Okay.
Literally just do a pull up and then climb over top of it. Come on, Bev. You got this.
Okay.
You have 1,000 luck.
Not anymore. Give me 1 dice
Okay,
boost,
1,000
please.
minus 10.
I'm shooting for a 30.
I
This climb
feel like
test.
Ashley and Long are the complete opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to taking audience booths. Long's like, no. Ashley's like, yeah.
I am. I'll take 1. I'm not taking
Just
2.
saying.
I'm taking 1.
Whatever. I mean, hey,
I could
if this
be
is,
worse.
if you could,
You're
this
good.
I
is like
can
a
live
night.
with it.
Fine.
I can.
Oh, no, you can't.
You can't die with it.
Oh, fuck.
You fall. Critical fail.
Yep.
97.
Yep.
You fall back down into the pit, and the scorpions begin to swarm.
Oh, dude, I don't dare to push. Not again.
You can't. You
You
crit.
can. It's
You
a
can't.
crit.
You can't do a crit fail.
Yeah.
The fumble. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Do anything on the crit.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, Bev.
It was a good
We're
run.
gonna cut from there. You were so close. That was so heroic. Like a minute ago. It was so cool. And then
That
you just
was
fell.
so fucking cool.
We'll see what condition you're in a minute. Eventually, the storm does relent. And Marie, Patrick, Will, and Jerome, you are all, as you start to get up and you wipe the sand off the top of your heads and you're partially buried in it in some ways, you can see that you're all within about 20 to 30 yards of each other. You found this relative rocky islet in the sandy area, and all of you can see each other. You can see some of your camels have lied down on the ground. Others are missing. But none of you see Shyma. None of you see Bev. Shyma, when you finally feel the storm relent, you look around, you can see that the ridge that you fell is about a 45-degree ridge. It's certainly climbable. It's not something that you would be incapable of climbing back up. Oops, sorry about that. It's not something that you would be incapable of climbing back up, but you see absolutely no signs of anybody. As far as you can see, you can't see anyone at all. You don't see a camel, you don't see people, you just see desert as far as you can see. But you're certain that ridge is where you fell from.
If I know that's where I'm gonna make my way to.
Absolutely. Okay, so you start climbing up, no issues. Again, it's not a sheer cliff. It's only a 45-degree, and so it's not the hardest thing in the world to climb. It just takes a little bit of time. The rest of you, Marie, Patrick, Will, what are the three of you doing?
Marie is just full on, just coughing, and trying to kind of catch her breath. Where is everybody?
I imagine Will was covered with his tunic that he's been wearing while he was in that crevice. So he really just has to shake off the sand off the clothing more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would, take stock and then just call out Bev, Shyma repeatedly. And fire off 2 shots from his pistol to try and sound.
All right. I was going to have Shyma roll a listen test for the voice, but once you fire the gunshots, Shyma, you hear gunshots. Like that's loud enough that you would hear that. I'm not sure if that makes Shyma more panicked or less panicked.
I think that makes her more panicked.
It would be the thing where it's a single gunshot and then like a pause and then another single gunshot.
Okay. I would like to think she's smart enough to know that's not just like panic gunfire. So I for better or for worse, she's gonna go towards that.
You
take
climb
your
up.
chances.
Yeah, you climb up, you look out, and you can see about 100 yards away. There's Will, there's Marie, there's Patrick, there's Jerome. No signs of Bev. Camels are kind of scattered at this point. But you can see that they're still there. And like you can see Will is bringing the gun back down, like as he has just shot it, like he was doing like a race starting shot up into the sky. And you're certain it was him. It doesn't look like he's in any danger. But you still don't see any signs of Bev.
I'm gonna pick up my pace while at the same time looking around for ridges or pits or anything Doctor may have fallen into between where I am and between where they are.
Okay, fair enough. Will, Marie, Patrick, you look up, you can see there's Shyma climbing up from this ridge that she had fallen, dusting off a bit of the sand, and then she kind of starts to trot a little bit as she's looking around and looking around. You still don't see any signs of Bev, but you also know that Shyma just came up from that slope and Bev's not with her. So she hasn't, so you can probably presume then that Bev was not with her. What are the three of you doing then?
Did any of you see Bev? When's the last time we saw her?
Before this started, I think I ate all of the sand.
All right. You don't look so good. Stay here with Jerome. I'll take a camel and I'll try to retrace our steps as best we can, and I'll be back. I'll do a loop.
I'm coming with you. I've got good eyes.
It's one of our camels around. Maybe she's around there.
So Will would like to just mount a camel and try to like go back in the direction he thinks we came from as best as possible, calling out for both.
Okay. So we're going to do this. I want to get a sense of what everyone's doing. We're going to do some rolls, and then the quality of your successes in total is going to determine how quickly, if at all, you find Bev. All right. So Will, you're going to give me a survival test. It sounds like, because you're trying to track and backtrack your steps. Shyma, you're going to be rolling a spot hidden because you're specifically looking for certain things in the ground. Marie and Patrick, is there anything you wanted to try to suggest?
Yeah, you said the camels were spread around. Maybe one of them is nearby Bev, so I'll look around the areas the camel's at.
Okay. Take a spot hidden, and I would say you can have a bonus die to it, actually, because you're looking for something in particular. And then what about you, Marie?
Marie's just sort of relying on her eyes, so she's sort of like doing the thing that I would do as a short person, kind of like just jumping and just trying to see what she can see, and then like just trying to like see if there's any signs of anything that she can see, like a piece of clothing or something like that.
Gotcha. Sounds like spot hidden. Okay.
Would I be able to argue for track instead of survival?
Absolutely. All right. Looks like we got hard successes from Shyma and another hard success from Patrick so far. So it's a really good start.
Regular success.
I got a hard success on track. Would it be worth it to spend the 7 luck to make it an extreme?
No, I would say everyone's done so great. You guys are going to find her pretty quick. Okay. All of you begin to spread out and look. I'll say that, Will, you start to backtrack a little bit. Patrick, you start running from one camel to the next, kind of looking around, trying to figure out which one's hers, looking at her belongings, trying to track. You find yours, you find Marie's, you find, Shyma's and such. So you start looking and looking and looking. And then Marie, you're looking specifically for the idea of like, where are these, where are our belongings? And you do see scattered along the ground and half buried. You can see maybe it's like a scarf or a headdress that Bev had been wearing. You can see it's sort of sticking up out of the sand, flapping. And between that and then Patrick following you, you track back to like where Camel is. Shyma, Will, you start coming back as well. You looking around. You realize at one point that there is maybe about 15 feet or so from where you find Bev's camel, which had climbed down to the ground and was just sort of ducking. You can see that there's a strange depression. It's like a salt-crusted area similar to what you've seen before, but it almost just looks like a hole had formed, and then there's sand like a well filling up maybe 3/4 of the way, and there's like a good 2 to 3 foot gap between where the top surface, top rim of the hole is, and where the level of sand is. And you see scattered about are some of Bev's things.
Would Will be able to identify what that is? Would he have seen that before?
Your guess,
Or have been trained
I would
before?
say your guess from your roll, you think that this was probably a hole that got filled up by the loose sand that was sort of repurposed or redistributed. So it looks like a pit just got filled by sand.
He would walk over to it and try to kick some of the sand, try to loosen it up, see if there's anything, at least a few inches under. Like, he didn't bring a shovel or anything, I don't think.
Will, do you think she's in there? Do you think she's buried under there?
It's hard to say. If she fell over, the sand could have easily covered her.
Shyma's helping.
Okay. So you start digging and digging. And at one point you pull out this what looks like a branch from one of these shrub trees, right? And it's kind of split where it looks like it's been broken, but you also would notice there's like a little bit of blood on it as well. You just keep digging and digging and digging. Bev, I need you to roll a Constitution test.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna see what
We're
conditions she's in.
coming. We're coming. Dr. Key.
78.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Do you want to push? Do you want to spend luck?
We don't have any luck
So-
anymore, right?
I'm at.
What
That
you
would put me under 30
Okay.
because it would essentially cost me 28.
Okay.
But
Okay. Here's
I
what I'm
could
gonna suggest.
spend.
I just rolled damage for you from the scorpions. That how many hit points do you have?
I have 16.
Okay, I'm rolling the suffocation rate. All right, you were going to take a total of 19 points of damage between the scorpions
Ooh.
and basically getting buried and suffocating as you're buried alive.
I would
We can
like to
trigger the
spend
luck rule.
all of my luck.
Yeah.
To trigger the thing.
Okay. So
Oh, gosh.
we play with luck rules. So if this is your first time listening to this, we definitely play with luck rules. And so you're going to effectively avoid certain death, which costs all of your remaining luck points, but a minimum of 30. So you're spending all of them.
Yep.
What that
48.
means is that when they finally hit something that is hard, it is your head, and you all feel hair, and you pull her out. Go ahead and roll a D6, Bev.
One.
Oh,
You have
no.
2 hit points as you are pulled out. I'm going to say that the effects of the scorpion's venom is that you have trouble breathing, and you have some paralysis that's starting to sink in. But
Would it
all of
be
you-
fair to say I'm unconscious as well?
I think so,
Because
too.
I took
I'm cool
well
with that.
over half of my health.
yeah, so we'll say because you spent the luck, you're gonna survive. You're covered in scorpion stings. Like you guys can see like welts here and there on her skin, on her face, anywhere where it's exposed. And you worry for a moment that she might be dead. But any of you who might have first aid or medicine, like you can see her chest is moving very, very faintly. What all are you doing?
Will is pretty good at first aid, so he would try to get her some air, try to dress whatever wounds. Like, he can tell that there's venom, and there's so many punctures that there's not much you can do about that.
Mhm.
But he would just try to dress her as best he can, bandage her up.
Okay. Give me a first aid test. As you'll kneel down, her heart rate is very thin. Her breath is thin. She's alive, but fading.
I have first aid of 70. I rolled an 84. I will spend the 14 luck to make it a success.
Okay. So this is going to give you a D4. That's what you're basically getting. You're getting first aid. So roll a D4, Bev.
Did she take a major wound?
I'm going to say she is. I think she should take a major wound, to be honest.
Yeah,
She
that's
took
what the
so much
system
damage.
said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you took
Okay.
what, more than half all at once? So.
I took all of my health all at once, pretty much.
Just want to make sure. Do you remember, Stephen, if the first aid emergency medical care that you're giving her works on people who have major wounds?
Oh.
Okay, so it's page 121 in the core book.
Mm-hmm.
It's used to stabilize and grant 1 temporary hit point. Dying character that has been stabilized. Sorry, I'm rereading.
No, it's fine, man. It's been a couple weeks.
I don't think I give
So
her. It's just 1 hit point unless the pulp rules change it.
We're using the pulp rules because we're using
We
faster
are.
recovery, which it's changed the 1 into a 1d4.
So it cannot be used to treat diseases. Medicine is required for that, and it could potentially rouse a player from unconsciousness.
Okay.
If
I
I'm
don't
dying, it would
see
stabilize
anything.
me for an hour.
You are stabilized by spending the luck.
Yeah. You're stabilized.
Okay, yeah.
You're alive. And I'll say with the first aid test, you are now roused to consciousness. Although, what do you think, major wound? I mean, you can flavor this however you want. I'll throw 2 pitches. When you fell, maybe you broke something, or the paralysis lingers in one of your, it's somewhere on your body. What do you think?
Ooh, well, because this is a major wound.
Mm-hmm.
I would say
have it
a
for a bit.
broken limb then
Okay.
would probably be
Okay.
like she landed wrong on her arm and like snapped like a femur or something, or not a femur. That's a leg bone. Like just one of her arms.
Bev is built different.
She's built wrong. Okay.
Okay.
My
so you wanna
wife
go-
is an X-ray tech, and she would be very upset to hear this mislabeling of bones.
I
Okay, so
remember
you're
there's Ulna and
broken
Radius
arm?
here, where the 2 like
There we go. Yeah.
forearm bones.
Okay.
Oh, and they're commonly easily broken.
Okay. So we'll say major wound. You broke your arm when you fell.
Yeah.
And Will, as you rouse her back to consciousness, and I'm gonna say for a little while, Bev, like that, like you're still gonna feel that paralysis and trouble breathing. That's just the effect of the venom. It's not gonna kill you though necessarily because you spent all that luck. But you can still feel it running through you. But you open up your eyes, which are covered in sand, and Will, you're able to dust it away, and you can see Will's face as you take a breath. Very shallow breath, but a breath nonetheless.
And her voice is just
Welcome back. You're alive.
You didn't let me die. You kept your promise. And at that she just kind of lets out this like just reedy breath as she just kind of closes her eyes and coughs up more sand.
And Will kind of looks towards Marie. Did I promise she wouldn't die?
You did promise to not let her get eaten.
launches herself at Dr.
Whisper, you didn't
Kian.
hear this.
Wraps her in a hug. You're alive. You're alive.
It's good to see you.
She'll let go.
You notice like your arm, first of all, is extraordinarily painful. But you're also noticing, Bev, that your legs are very numb. You can barely move them. It seems they're kind of responding. You can see your toes twitch. Your shoes are probably down in the pit somewhere. And like you can feel your toes will twitch, but like you're just struggling. And like as Shyma launches herself, the pain courses through like from the broken arm. So you feel it. Like this is the first time you've probably felt the fact that something's very wrong.
Yeah, and fuck. And that's when my arm is broken.
All right, no big deal. That happens all the time. I fell out of a tree when I was a kid, broke my arm, back to normal in like 2 days max. So we've got this stick here. I take the one that's covered in her blood, and I snap it, and I try to make a splint for her. I bandage her up.
Fair enough.
Here, I've got some cloth, and so Marie will kind of take some of the extra cloth that's kind of been buffeted and probably ripped anyway. Here, quick thinking, kid. Here, think well on your feet.
Yep. Like I said, done this before. I splinted up my own arm. Was all better. You'll be fine in a couple hours.
I can't really feel my legs.
That's not a good sign. That might be something else.
We're
gonna have to lift you though.
There were so many scorpions.
Okay. Yeah, we can.
And
your face is a little swollen, so I kind of knew there were some scorpions. But let's try to get a few more sticks together, and we can drag her.
And Marie sort of looking to Shyma. Miss Oberon, this would appear to be your strength will be useful here. I'll try to find the sticks. So
and taking Will's instruction, Shyma will very as gently as possible carry Dark to you wherever it needs to be.
Okay. All of you increase your heat level by 1 from the exertion expended during this dust storm. And from
Jeff, I just got rid of that.
Sorry, man. You could have left the desert. You could have left.
I could have left Bev,
but you stayed. And now it's good.
Because I made a promise, and I always keep my promises.
Mysteries to solve.
You didn't even remember.
I will say, eventually, Patrick, you're able to, from going around to these different camels, you're able to kind of scoot them along. Jerome is helping as well. It takes longer to find Marie's that bolted off after it bit her. And you can see Marie, by the way, is bleeding from her face where she got bit. But eventually, all of you are able to get the camels together, get everything. You probably have lost some supplies in the process, but everything Jerome was always very good about making sure everything is tied down appropriately on the cargo one that he leads. He walks everywhere. Some of you ride still. And eventually you are able to push on if you wish, or you can camp if you wanted to camp here. It's up to you.
I don't. And it takes Marie a while to remember that she got bit in the face. Just I was so worried about Dr. Key and everyone. Oh, wait, that doesn't feel very, very good. Should we take this as a sign that we should not stay here and we should keep going?
Shaman kind of rubs the back of her neck sort of uncomfortably, and I think maybe the heat's getting to me because I saw Pastor Wood.
Not the only one. I saw him too.
You as well?
Some mirages, visions.
That's what I thought. But if we both saw him,
he's dead, Shyma. He can't be.
No, I know he's dead. I watched him. But if we both saw him,
what was he doing?
Dying.
The guardian angel.
That's not what I saw.
He was leading you to safety?
I think so. But then he started bleeding.
Oh. Well, we spent the night back near the ruins and we were quite beset by images there. Maybe we've found a place here that we shouldn't remain longer than we need to. I also am feeling quite
you're
warm.
Bleeding on your face. Shouldn't we take a second?
It's minor, and she's literally just like rubbing dirt in it because what else has she got here? It's really whether or not we all think that we can carry Dr. Key if she cannot walk on her own.
Of course. I mean, I can help Dr. Key if you're up for moving.
I think it's better we rest here. I took some of those things before and I could hardly move.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I was already nervous about us coming out here, and this just reinforces that tenfold.
Okay, sounds
Keeper,
like we should rest.
Player.
while everyone's talking about resting, Will would like to be scanning the horizon to see if anyone else might have been attracted by his gunshots.
Go ahead and roll a spot hidden.
That is a 4, which is an extreme success.
You see in the distance, to the east, coming down from some kind of rocky cliff and slowly moving, is a figure. It is daytime, so you're able to see for quite some distance. And you can very clearly see a figure in black slowly descending from this large outcropping. They are a ways from you. So for you, it's like sort of seeing an ant on the other side of a kitchen. Like that's sort of the distance. But you, with your eyes peeled like a hawk, you can see someone is back there. Whether they're following you or whether they're just out there, that you probably can't discern. But there is somebody out there.
Whether we're hurt or tired, regardless, we are very exposed. And I made a lot of noise trying to find Bev, trying to find you, Shyma. I think we should move on. We probably drew some attention.
This is true, but it doesn't... Moving at the pace that we're going to be moving, I think if someone is tracking us, they will be able to find us. We're not going to be able to lose anyone out here, I don't believe.
They'll be able to find us a little bit slower than if we're staying put, though.
The question is, are we pushing forward or are we going back?
We've come
No,
this
we're pushing
far.
forward.
We should push forward.
It's just a little hiccup, guys. The venom will pass. She'll be able to walk again soon. Just take some time. I'm going to use these tent poles, and I'm going to make a little sled for you, Bev. And we'll strap you to the back of this camel. It may not smell good. I'm sorry about that, but we'll get moving.
Could ride
and,
on the camel. You strap me to the camel.
You couldn't feel your legs, so that would be a little bit difficult. But if you want to, yeah, we'll tie you in.
It seems better than her perhaps being pooped on by the camel, that if she's riding atop the camel, that may be the better place to be than being pulled behind.
Unless she falls. But it's her choice. It's her choice. You want to be on top of the camel, we'll put you on top of the camel.
I don't want to be shit on top of everything else.
Well, if you're on top of the camel, never mind. Okay. So up.
Okay. So you guys push. You push forward. Okay. So we're going to push. Remember, I'm not sure if you recall this, but I said that your adaptation to the heat we're not necessarily marking individual days like we did for the initial stretch of travel. At this point, we're doing stretches, which is like multiple days of travel. But it does mean that you're still moving those days. It's just we're not necessarily delineating every single heat roll as to move things along a little bit.
Okay.
I do, however, need you all to make a heat test as you are pushing. So you push further into the day despite this intense moment, this sandstorm, this dust storm that seemed to attack you all. And Jerome is concerned and maybe mentions to you, Will, at some point as you're traveling, as you seem to have some understanding of survival. Once more, he says to you, I do not think that all will return. This is very dangerous. This place is far from any of our normal track. If something should befall any of you again, we will not have resources. We cannot hurry to a medicine woman or man. We are on our own. So, I just wanted to remind you of this.
Jerome, I understand. I've been on my own since I was 16. It's sometimes a fact of life. I know we're all fish out of water here, but none of us would be here if we all know the risks, and we all think this is worth it.
Bev has made noise that she doesn't think we should go forward numerous times. I would like that on the record.
Totally on the record.
Bev thinks this is a bad idea.
You've been poisoned. You're just a little foggy headed, yeah.
Okay.
Even before I was poisoned, before we went this way, she wanted to go back and get the French Legion.
Jerome, each and every one of us, especially Bev, thinks that we need to push forward.
Jerome has ears. He knows you're lying.
I think you have an accurate assessment of your party, Mr. Sawyer. But we will push forward if that is the wish. Be very careful.
They're hardier than they look.
So, how did we do on those heat tests? So, Will, how did you do?
Regular success.
Okay.
What are the consequences for heat level 2 again?
Heat level 2,
20%.
And a daily sand roll from Mirage. I'll tell you when I want to do that, so don't worry about it.
Okay. I am at heat level 2 to call that out, Jeff, so I will need the...
Okay. So, Will, you're good, you said. Marie, how did you do?
I'm not good because I rolled a 23, which would be a hard, but I'm at heat level 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I only have 14 luck left, so there's not real. So, like,
okay.
even if I don't think even spending it would
Gotcha.
benefit me necessarily.
All right. It does mean that you advance to level 3, which honestly is really, really bad. Level 3 is where things start to go downhill. You can probably survive, decently at 1 or 2 because it's just simple penalties, but 3 and up, it gets really, really, really difficult. So,
yeah, I don't think I can get there though, because I have a con of 50, 25 is hard, minus 20 would be 5.
Okay.
And I only have 14 luck, so I am at heat level 3.
Move yourself up to 3. Shyma, what about you?
Just a regular success, so that moves me to 2.
Okay. Bev, you said you're at level 2. Is that right?
Yeah, so my goal is 30 and I rolled a 9.
Nice. Very nice. Okay. And then Patrick, how did you do?
Currently at heat level 2, I rolled a 3 for extreme.
Awesome. All right. So it sounds like everybody is at either 2 or 3. Will, what are you at? You're at 1.
1.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, it was too far. I am at 1.
So, and everybody else is at 2 or 3, it sounds like.
Yikes.
A couple days pass in this way where you are traveling, resting, in the wash. You cool down but heat up, and cool down but heat up, so you're all kind of undulating between those two. At night things are better for you, but once travel starts, it gets hotter again. And then at a certain point you recognize not just like an elevation shift where you find yourselves, you can feel it somewhat, especially any of you who hop down for a while and walk with the camel as opposed to ride it. You can feel it in the calves. You can feel it in the camels. The camels need more water. The camels need more care. And then towards the latter parts one day, you think you've been traveling now since the volcanic site for maybe 6 days. And you see in front of you a barren landscape of jagged rock, not uncommon, but some of them are towering. They're enormous, like the size of redwood trees or even buildings in some cases. The air is extremely dry. The ground is uneven, fissured in some places. More than once, you have to steer a camel from its foot almost falling through into one of them. Despite this, it's not devoid of vegetation. You can actually see there's scrub brush, there's desert grasses that seems to be scattered in these clumps along these salt ridges. And you can see these yellowed, salt-tolerant plants that every now and then Jerome will stop and pluck something from. And then you realize there's these shadows because of these tall, jagged formations that are strewn in all sorts of these different directions, allowing certain places to be dark, which you would imagine for a significant portion of the day, like where shadow just seems to constantly hit it. And there you can see like lichen growing on it. Everyone, roll a spot hidden. Mind your penalties.
Heat level 2 is minus 20.
20.
Yeah?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
It retains the level 1.
Thank you.
It's just a boost up. Yeah.
Failed.
Failed.
Bev also failed.
Shyma.
Succeed. 15 out of 58.
Nice.
That's the only way to do it.
It seems like everyone's getting ready to pass by this place and just continue on. When something catches your eye, you can see that built into one of these towering building-sized formations, there is an opening. At first glance, it's like a cave opening, but then as you're looking at it, you realize it's like toothy and weathered, but you see flanking either side of it. This is maybe 100 yards from you. You see what looks like pilasters. Not rock, but something carved. They're buckling. You can see one of them is buckling a little bit under the pressure of the stone. They looks weather worn for sure. It is in a relatively shaded spot, but it looks not like a natural carving in the rock. It is very much something that has been hewn in some fashion, and it seems to lead into that opening. And you're the only one who sees it.
Okay. As soon as that catches my eye, she lost her candle. I think she's been kind of walking beside Dr. Key and just keeping an eye on making sure she doesn't fall and stuff. But she'll kind of stop in her tracks and therefore stopping Dr. Key's camel. There's something here. Wait, I just need to see. And she kind of shoves the reins up a donkey and starts moving off towards this thing.
Wait, don't go off on your own. What do you see?
1 second. And obviously her curiosity and just is taking a hold.
Everybody stop. Shyma saw something.
Shyma, when you get closer, your suspicions are confirmed. These are not just random gross or structures of rock and stone. Somebody has, over time, has carved quite elegantly into this some kind of pilaster on either side, like you would see. And it almost looks like there was a kind of an arch over top of it that has broken over time, and instead it just looks like chunks of rock are just irregularly fallen. Like it suffered some damage over the years, but the pilasters remain intact. And as you stand there in front of them, it's about a 8-foot wide opening and maybe a 10-foot tall opening. You actually feel a cool breeze coming from it. And it's, considering where you've been, that is a very noticeable thing.
And she will call behind her, hoping everyone can hear. You all need to come see this. And while she says that,
right there.
she's getting physically closer to and kind of inspecting what's right in front of her.
Okay. Will was there, I heard. What do the rest of you do?
Marie would go over to Jerome to see if he can help her take Bev down, because Bev is like on top of the camel. And so since time is off, Marie will get Jerome's assistance.
And he will absolutely do so.
Please help get Dr. Key down.
And Bev, your feeling has been slowly coming back. You're still feeling some pins and needles here and there, but it's slowly coming back. The pain obviously is still in your arm. You don't really have anything to get rid of that pain currently, but like you're in better condition now than you were like 2 days ago when the desert storm happened. Yeah.
I think at this point, like with her clothes and such, it's gotten to where she's kind of got her arm just trapped to her chest so that it's less, it's more stable along with the splint.
Okay. And what about you, Patrick? Do you go along with everybody?
Yeah, I'll stop, see what's happening.
Okay. Jerome will take advantage of these shadows, and he will find, a darkened place to keep the camels in relative cool. As you all gather around the mouth of this, you see the same thing Shyma has. Bev, you see it as well. This is clearly something. This was an abode, a structure, or something. Obviously carved and hewn into the rock in some way. I need, who's all at heat level 3? I think Marie is, and
yes.
Bev is Bev at 3? Okay.
She's at 2.
And
I think Marie's the only one at 3.
Okay. Bev, give me a sand. Actually, no, all of you but Will, give me a sand test.
Okay.
Because it's 2 or higher. Sorry.
Failed.
Okay.
Does this
doubles and I
also
immediately think
suffer
Celtic
from
green.
the heat penalty?
Yeah, they're all cumulative.
Okay, thank you.
When you roll
77
an
doesn't fail.
80, doesn't matter.
Okay.
Hey, twinsies.
So fail. Yeah, unlike me, Mel, it does not matter.
Right? It rolls so bad, doesn't matter.
So, Will, you're fine. Marie, you, as you're standing here, amongst your friends, the heat is hitting you. Someone just not necessarily roughly, but someone just pushes past you. Just feel like your shoulder hit with somebody. You're not sure which one of them are, and you just see a person move forward into the opening.
Excuse you?
And then as you say that, a head turns around and looks at you, and you realize it's you. It's your own face. It's your own body. And as the head turns around, the face looks tired, looks a little bit drained. No possible way you could look like that right now. Not with all the care that Marie has taken in her career to possibly look like that. And then
Camel bite on her face.
Yeah, you can see it likely healed and stitched over. A mouth opens to sort of mutter or mouth back sorry to you, but as it does, like, you realize the mouth is filled with all sorts of strange teeth. You can see like a shark tooth, you can see a fang, right? You can see broken teeth in some ways. None of it looks at all like it should look, Marie, but does in fact mouth sorry, and then continues until they disappear around a bend and you can no longer see her. Take a sand loss from this.
Did
Shyma?
anyone else see that? Did anyone else see that? See me walk by? No?
Yeah, you're right next to us. What are you talking about?
Just she.
I see you.
Oh, never
So
mind.
why?
And she's just kind of rubbing her eyes.
Shyma, how did you do?
I failed.
Okay.
80 over
Okay.
33, normally 13 with the heat.
Okay. You hear something from inside. You hear the sound of your mother's voice. Shyma? Is that you? Shyma?
Ma?
All of you hear Shyma say that, but you don't hear the other part.
Ma, is that you?
It's me,
And,
Shyma.
She runs forward.
You see Shyma bolt into the hall. 1 point to say. Bev, what did you do?
I failed.
Okay. Bev, you feel a gust of wind come from behind you, and you feel it's not so much like sand hitting you, but you feel something hitting you. And when you turn and you look, and you could see pages and pages are kind of hitting you at this point, like pages from a book. And you see they fall off of you, and then the wind seems to cascade and move them deeper into the this hallway, right as Shyma rushes past them. And when you look back, you can just see there's this wave of pages, vellum, parchment, scrolls, all like a tidal wave coming at you in the horizon, and is just barreling down at you, Bev.
She is kind of frightened by the amount of pages coming at her, and she has a fear of, again, being buried. And so, just with no thought to it, she's trying to clutch at the papers flying past her into this hole, and as she also runs inside.
Like chasing, almost like chasing butterflies in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
She's like, shit, Shyma, help me pick these up, as she's running. Well, she's only got the one hand, actually, so she's just swiping in front of her.
Shyma
Patrick
called Ma and then ran into
bolted.
the temple.
Patrick, how did you do?
I also failed.
Okay. Patrick, you hear the mouth on your arm. It's the loudest you've ever heard it. And when you look down at it, you realize your arm is no longer attached to your shoulder. And you can see it's on the ground itself, folded so that the forearm is gnawing at where the shoulder blade has essentially been torn and wrenched free, a pool of blood on the ground in front of you.
Not like this. I need this. I'll try picking it back up.
So you pick up your arm, you hold it in front of you, and like the mouth is... You have to like pull it apart almost like it's a vice grip because it doesn't want to let go of the shoulder part of your arm, but you're able to rip it apart. You use like the leverage of your leg, and then you pull with your good arm, and suddenly you have it in your hand now. And your hand is is right at the crux of the elbow, separating the forearm from the upper portions of that was ripped free from your arm. So
you'll see me like frantically trying to reattach it.
Okay. And you're just almost like it's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figure, just trying to like pop it back in and pop it back in. So all of you who failed, so Marie, Patrick, Bev, Shyma, you all should have taken one sanity loss. Will, you're keeping it together. You see Shyma and Bev rush in. Marie is saying something about seeing herself wander into the hall, but she's standing right next to you, and you're not sure just what the hell Patrick's doing. But he's just almost like punching his shoulder, because to you his arm's attached. Like you can say everything's fine. Obviously the mouth is you would be able to tell if the mouth is behaving a little more loud, louder than normal, and a little bit more erratic, but otherwise is intact. And he just seems lost in whatever it is he's doing.
What the Oh, does it all fall apart so quick? Patrick, what are you doing? Quit punching yourself.
No, my arm. I need this.
You have your arm.
Put it back. Put it back.
When you look, you see it is attached again. You were successful.
All right, Patrick, I need you to keep it together for a little bit. Bev and Shyma just ran down the hall. Stick with Marie. All right, Marie, stick with Patrick. Quit looking at yourself. And I go and I start jogging down the hall. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
You saw me too?
No. I mean, yes, I'm looking at you.
Not this me, that me.
Just stay together.
Just
stay together.
Stay right here.
And I turn and I run forward.
Okay, Will runs in, Shyma has rushed in, Bev has rushed in, and it's just you, Marie, and Patrick at the mouth of this hall. Do you listen to Will?
Well, Mr. Price?
They ran in there. We got to go after them. This place is a bit creepy, though. I don't know what just happened.
We're here to find the creepy things, so Will told us to stay put while he went running?
I didn't say stay put, I said stay together.
Stay together.
Oh, stay together.
Don't
buddy system.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Price, we should go after.
Okay. So as you all in different intervals rush into here, Shyma chasing after the voice of your mother, Bev chasing after these pages, Marie looking for your doppelganger, Will chasing after Shyma and Bev, and Patrick making sure Marie doesn't wander off by herself. You all find yourselves in fluted caverns. It's very dark. However, there are moments of light. As you can see above you, there are slots in the high ceiling of some places that are coming down. And you realize that it's not so much that you're in a cave as you are periodically coming in and out. So you're going in through a bore, through a rock formation, then out into this very narrow canyon between two of these formations closely pressed together, the light coming down on you. All the while, Bev, Shyma, you kind of slowly begin to realize that the voice of your mother is no longer calling to you. The pages are no longer tumbling. It takes a little while before you realize like it's not actually happening. When you look around, the walls in many places are rough and uneven, but in other places very smooth. It's all very cool in here as well. You can tell that this place is definitely protective from the sun and from the heat. There are these breezes that waft through, not the violent sand-blasted wind of the desert, but these cool brushes of wind against your face. It almost feels like you're throwing cold water on your face at certain points. Many times as you're moving through these tunnels, these canyon walls, you see streaks of red and ochre kind of faintly marking the stone in places, barely visible symbols, writing, drawing something of some kind. And you just find yourselves wandering. Who has, other than Bev, because I know Bev's at 0 luck, but who has the lowest luck of the rest of you?
Probably Marie. I'm at 23.
14.
37.
I'm pretty good right now, 56.
Sound like Marie. Yeah, I think you're right. Marie, give me a luck test.
Okay. 10 under 14.
Wow.
Nice.
Girl, that's amazing.
Yeah.
There are all sorts of crisscrossing tunnels and passages here, but somehow all of you are funneled in the same direction, a handful of feet from each other. Sometimes you hear the sounds of your footsteps. And eventually you find yourselves at an end spot like this. You think it's a dead end, at least on the level that you're at. Then you realize a little higher up, there are almost like windows or holes in the walls a little bit higher. And you realize in front of you is a campsite, for lack of a better term. you can see that there's a pot that is sitting over top of a small fire. There is warmth coming from it. When you kind of peek at it, you can't quite see exactly what's in it from a distance, but it's some sort of liquid that seems to be at a light simmer. There is a crude-looking spear that is leaning against a wall. There is a sleeping mat on the ground that looks to be regularly like restitched and restitched. There is one of those stools that you've seen both Jerome and so many of the Afar carrying with them and resting their head on at night. You can see one of those, again, broken and fixed and broken and fixed and broken and fixed. You can see the walls are filled with drawings and words that you can see span a couple different languages, some of them English. And they look to be far more visible and far more recent than some of the symbols and images that you passed along your route to get here. But all of you eventually find this spot, either from the same path, the same route, or from a different route. You all emerge at relatively the same time. What are you all thinking and doing?
There you are. You just went running off, Dr. Key, Miss Oberon.
There was pages to collect, and now and as she continues to just kind of walk away from you to the walls where there's these inscriptions and such, and she's just going to start just reading and trying to translate whatever she can.
Will would go up to the pot, see that it's still simmering, and just someone was here.
Wasn't
very
there a
recently.
sleeping man?
There's no sleeping man. There's a mat. There is a mat.
Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I misheard you.
And Will would grab one of his pistols and just have it ready. He wouldn't be pointing it anywhere. He'd have it like down by his leg so it's not overtly threatening. But he'd be trying to just look down some of the hallways just for any idea of where the person, if there's someone nearby.
You look down the hallway you came from and the ones that maybe your other friends emerged from, and you don't see anything. They don't mention seeing anything. When you look in the pod, it is definitely simmering. There is heat going. Someone had been tending this recent. It looks like just some kind of broth, very simple. There's liquids, and then there's some kind of desert vegetation, lichen and stuff that's inside. It seems to be simmering with it, but you don't see any meat inside, anything like that.
So I think I would I choose one of the hallways that looks the darkest and just go to the very mouth of it, so I'm not in the center of the area, just to try and keep watch for the group.
Okay. All right. Patrick or Shyma, are you doing anything in particular?
Go ahead, Patrick. I'm here.
Yeah, getting an idea of where we are, what this place is with Bev. Just trying to understand it.
Okay, so you're like
I'm
looking
at the
drawings?
walls doing the reading as well.
Okay. If the three of you are just reading, you realize a lot of this is in English, a lot of it's drawing, and as you're looking at it, it almost seems like a journal. And it looks like you're reading various places of an individual who has been chronicling their days here and in the desert. And again, much of the writing is in English. Occasionally, the writing, you can't tell if it's language or if it's just madness, but it becomes illegible. There are drawings here and there as well. Sometimes it's drawings of like constellations. Other times it's drawings of things you might see on a horizon. Once or twice you find a map, what looks to be kind of tracking. Like there's like a dotted line that tracks to this place or that. It's not as though it is extraordinarily verbose because it is on rock itself. So you're not getting it's not like you're getting like a written journal with paragraphs and sentences, but it's just spot phrases here and there. And it looks to be someone chronicling their days. And it goes back a decent way. Like you would guess years between the three of you.
So couple of questions. One is obviously, the English parts are we able to see what they say. The second thing is we recently saw some English words carved into stone not too long ago. Does this have like a similar sort of style as that?
Yeah, it's crude. You can tell it's crude. Again, it's not like writing with a pen or a quill on
Sure,
parchment where
sure.
you can get the personality of it, but it is crude.
Handwriting, yeah.
And I would say like you all are.
We could
Your
infer
characters
it's short errors.
Your characters are
Yeah.
fairly smart. As
Yeah.
far as you know, there is only one person who has come out in this direction in the last 15 years that is American.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's-
So if
it's
it's
safe to
English
assume.
and like years old and everything else. then-
Yeah.
Okay.
at
George
a certain
is-
point, go ahead.
Still alive. This. I hope we can speak with him.
The writing is in English?
Parts, yeah.
Some of it.
And if that, Marie will just sort of be like, Mr. Ayers?
And you hear like something or someone clearing their throat. No one has called me that for many days. And you realize it's coming from above. And when you look up, you can see now in one of those small cubbies, maybe 10 feet above you or so, you can see a man, Caucasian, but certain, you can tell Caucasian, but also very sunburned and weathered, deeply weathered skin, very lean, but not necessarily unhealthy, unkempt beard, unkempt hair, a little bit missing in the front. And most notably, you can see on his torso, right between where his sternum and his belly button would be, there is a large mouth that has grown. But as you look at it, you realize, unlike Patrick's, it is not gnashing, it is not moving, and in fact, actually looks somewhat calcified. Got a picture to show you guys.
Oh, gosh. I'm so excited. We found him.
Jump scare.
Oh gosh.
And so he's looking down at you. The mouth doesn't move. He speaks with a great deal of deliberation, but you can tell that, and you would probably be able to conclude this is a guy who doesn't have a lot of conversations with people and probably hasn't in quite some time. So his voice is very labored and scratchy and dry. And it's almost like he's trying to remember what the words sound like as he speaks them. Who are you? Why have you come here?
Professor Ayers, we have been
Yes.
hired by Janet Winston Rogers.
I do not know that name.
Walter Winston's daughter.
Winston. Yes. I remember. Yes. Los Angeles. Echeverria. Ramon. Mentioned a Winston. Yes.
We'd like to ask you a few questions about that mouth on your stomach, if you don't mind.
We mean you no harm.
Yes. And he points to the corner where you can see there is like a singular pole, like a wooden pole, and you can see that there is like stepping stools and stuff, and it's leaned up against one of the cubbies, but not the one that he's in, and he points at it. Please move that here.
I would move it for him.
You see he slowly, deliberately, everything he does, very deliberate motion, and he descends until he's on your level. You are welcome here. Are you here to kill me?
No, we need your assistance. And she gestures towards Patrick. Our companion was horribly gifted mouth, and we're trying to find a way to help him.
That thing on you, what the hell is it?
This is many things. It is my shame, my burden, my reminder of both my own failings and the powers that exist in the universe, and how small we are. Don't worry. It can't harm you.
How did you get it?
That is a long story. You mentioned Winston. You know of Ramon, then?
Yes.
He's dead. Were you aware of that?
I had heard of the tragedy on the farm.
We went to the farm. We've been trying to find answers.
Yes. Ramon and I were friends. No. Acquaintances. He was a man with grand plans and ideals. He made a following. And there were some amongst us who he was most honest with. Samson Trammell. Have you heard this name?
He's dead now, too.
We hope he is.
Is he? That fills me with sadness and relief. I don't know the year, but in the early 1920s, I became friends with him. Ramon, that is. We were part of an organization. It was first just social meetings, gatherings, and then it became more. I remember the hedonism. And I remember the excess. And I believe that laid the seeds for what you have asked about. And he kind of motions to his, to the mouth on his stomach. I remember Edgar. Do you know Edgar? Job.
Edgar Job?
Yes. Is he still living?
Yes, but unwell. Your experiences touched his mind quite so.
Yes. He was a very, very interesting young man. You see like a little bit of a smile like cracks on his lips. I introduced him to Echevarria, to Ramon. And I tried to get him to apply for programs at the university. Ramon made us all great promises, but they were lies. He lied to the following. He said that we first were worshipping an entity, and that this entity would bring unto us a paradise. But these were lies. I began suspecting them. And when I brought my suspicions to him, he was happy. He said he was proud. He said that now I can know the truth. But those were lies as well. I came here to investigate a ruin with a colleague, Professor Acuna. Yes. Ramon called the entity the liar from beyond, the fisher from outside, Goroth. But these were lies. When I worked with Acuna, he had discovered through his research that perhaps the entity was something else entirely. A creature, a deity, a power known as the prisoner of Gla-Aki. And we believed that here, in the Horn of Africa, there was worship of this deity. We arranged when we found a site dedicated to it. Right where Acuna said it would be. And Ramon funded our research and sent me here to supervise the excavation. What we found. It was hideous. It was beautiful. Our digs were beset by trouble. Supply lines cut. Laborers missing. It was a year until we were able to find the edges of the temple itself, and a year again until we were able to find the entrance into the inner chamber. And when we finally breached the doors, we saw a mouth. It was enormous. It was not real. It was a statue. It was detail was exquisite. It was made of some sort of rock that we had never seen. Our geologist could not identify. It was probably quarried in the brine fields before Christ himself. Or it's from somewhere else. But it was a giant screaming mouth, tongues, a number uncountable, a dozen kinds of teeth, and lips that were obscene. You asked me where I received this. In the days following us opening the inner chamber, it manifested. It was loud as this one's. It was hungry as this one's, I am sure, is. And it was a short time after that when Acuna and I traveled to the Mirza Fatima to arrange more funding and to update Mon. And while we were gone, the earth itself rose up and buried it again. He stops for a bit because his mouth, you can feel, is getting very dry, and he kind of goes through his things and he pulls out a water skin and begins to drink some. Why have you come here?
How were you able to subdue that mouth?
The mouth that you see on me desires excess, consumption. It lusts for emotional extremes, hate, yearning. Echeverria, Ramon, his parties were decadent, sexual. Clear evidence. What I have done is I have denied the mouth these things because this is not an extension of me. This mouth is a beacon that calls out, that connects to some greater, more some larger thing. You. Yeah.
Does it connect to
You.
Tremel?
He points. He's pointing at
Wrote about
Patrick.
a black man.
He's going to cut you off. He points at Patrick. You fed it.
More than I can count.
And did you feel satiated by what it ate? Was your stomach filled? Did you cease to be hungry when it feasted?
Not even a bit.
Exactly. It is not into our bodies that what it consumes goes. It is into something greater, something more. It is into the maw, it is into the prisoner, it is into the liar. Beyond the agony of the wind, whatever name it is you wish to call it, you are feeding it. And so, they denied it consumption. I shut it off like an eye in darkness. Could not see anything. Its connection to the maw, the stomach, the gut, whatever it is connected to, I severed it. And that is why it is in the state that you now see it. And it harms me no more.
Shyma kind of pipes up, having been quiet and just sort of taking everything in up to this point. But when he says this, she'll, unable to kind of stop herself, like, is that what this place is? Is that why you're out here? It helps you deny the mouth.
I am here because I have penance to pay. These halls, if you linger in them, they will show you your past, the people you have harmed, the voices you have silenced, the sins that you have committed. They will echo and plague your dreams, and you will be forced to face them. That is why I'm here, so I can harm no one further.
Is quiet in the mouth, is that something that you did with the rituals from the Afar people? Or was it something you discovered for yourself?
Yes. They took pity on me. When news came to Bartolo and I in Mersa Fatma that the volcano had erupted and had destroyed our site, he cut ties. I could not. I had made friends amongst the laborers. I wanted to see for myself. I found destruction, death that I had brought. I buried those I could find. And I was prepared to waste away there. And that is when the guardians, as you call them, me. They argued for hours over my fate. Some wanted to kill me and take their trophy. Others saw a repentant man. So yes, they were the ones who taught me mindfulness and discipline, the strength of asceticism. Now, to deny the excesses that Ramon had instilled in us, we might find a peace not total, not complete, but of a kind. If I relent at any point, if I exert myself, it will return. The problem with shutting an eye off from darkness or in darkness is that when it is darkness for so long, even the dimmest light will blind it. The tiniest amount of joy or hatred or lust, and it will return again. I can teach you these ways if you wish it. But you would. It is not an easy thing. You are cutting a part of yourself away. Not the flesh, but the heart.
Trek this far, try to get rid of this. I've got to try something.
Do not be so flippant with your choice, or your life will not remain the same. The food that you have favored, set it aside. The songs that you would sing, you must quiet them. The love that you have shared, you must end it. You must give all of your focus. Or else whatever this thing is connected to, it will find you. It already knows where you are. It has certainly tracked you here as well. But if it's that is your desire, then I will aid you as I can.
It's a lot to commit to with all these distractions. What sins are you paying for down here?
Certainly you have visited the site. You have seen the destruction that it wrought, the death, those buried, obliterated by the volcano.
We saw the graves.
Even before then, I brought people to Ramon. Edgar. Poor Edgar. Olivia Clarendon, and others. He had Ramon, that is. He had a fondness for Hollywood. He saw vices in them that he could exploit. I brought these people into the fold. The farm. You've been there. From what I have heard, many have fallen there. And some of those are those that would not have died if I had not made introduction. There's death on my conscience and blood on my hands. That is what I atone for.
Was the ritual performed at the farmhouse something you had a hand in as well?
No. That was after I left Los Angeles, before Ramon and his followers performed it. Sometimes I wonder if it was just my fortune, or if Ramon knew that something would go terribly wrong. To summon such a power is to invite disaster. He could. Ramon knew things. Samson and I, and before I left, a woman from the east, I forget her name. He called us his inner circle, but he lied even to us. We were not worshipping Golgoroth. He was up to something different. And I, till this day, do not know exactly what his plans were. And that frightens me.
Shyma kind of straightens up and looks to Patrick. Mr. Bryce, we already knew this mouth was something terrible, but if we know that they were trying to bring something back in that ritual, some kind of god here, and this is linked to a god that knows where you are, we have to get rid of this immediately.
You're right. But it's going to take a lot of work. I'll have to listen to this man to even have an idea how to start.
We have faith in you that you can do it, though. It's so important.
And she holds up her thumb at that. It's not the only option. I'll be honest, I don't know if this is a permanent solution, but it's at least a temporary one.
Well, we're not cutting off his arm here in the desert. The least we can do is listen to the man and try to learn. Patrick can make his choice when we get back.
Professor Ayers, you mentioned a woman. Some of us had met a woman in Thailand. And Murray kind of nods.
Sorry, I don't. I remember.
Was her name Maitreyi?
Yes, that was what it was. She had a friend who was always lingering around in the State Department.
Mr. Henslow? Douglas Henslow?
No.
Yes, the State Department. Yes, we know who that is.
Douglas Henslow was one of Walter Winston's fellow investigators back in 1924.
Thank you.
Wrong team.
Thank you.
Daniel Lohman.
Daniel Lohman, thank you. Sorry, I knew it was like a
Yeah.
D name, and
Yeah.
it was a D name. Thank you.
Yes, Daniel Lohman. We came across him in Bangkok. We've been to Los Angeles. We've been to Savannah. We've been to Mexico City. Been to Bangkok. And we came here because two of our friends became, unfortunately, had mouths on them. And Miss Oberon here took it upon herself to rid her body of the mouth in the expedient method. And our friend Mr. Price was hoping to see what had become of you, that you might have information on a ritual. And that is how we found our way to you.
We're aware it isn't actually a ritual, and it is just discipline and practices now at this point.
No,
But
it is a ritual. A daily one. An hourly one. You must dedicate and focus. You must not waver in it. There is no...
Sir had... sorry, go ahead.
He was just going to say, there is no magic to it. And then he would have stopped.
Seems Inner Circle found out that E50 was lying. But they've taken upon their own, spawned their own mouths. We've seen these creatures all over the world. You're saying they all connected?
And they're all being
so.
fed.
Yes. I believe that each is a conduit for something larger. As I said, when I eat with this mouth, my body is satiated. When this one fed, I felt nothing but shame. But somewhere, the matter that I fed into it must go there. You said there were others that you have seen. Did they look like the stone that I described?
Yes, in Trammell's home deep in his basement, it spanned a wall. It was so large and horrific.
I was certain what Acuna and I saw. We wondered. Well, I wondered after my own birthing if it wasn't in fact a carving. It was in fact real. The mine has calcified. And perhaps something was done to deny the one in the temple.
We've seen another calcified one. It was smaller, but this...
I believe that if you have a person who's truly devoted, someone who has purified themselves, whose faith is without blemish, and if they were to sacrifice themselves, could one of different size, could it be neutral?
I didn't attempt to sacrifice myself, and my faith isn't nearly as good as it should have been, but we did try to bless Patrick's, and it had no...
You're telling me that old pastor fall in the pit neutralized it? Man of God.
His
Oh,
faith was pure. If he was without sin, if he had admitted to his sins and been forgiven for them, perhaps. However, he denied those sins. He was not truly devoted or pure. Like my old friend Ramon, was but a liar, pretending to be something he was not.
Pastor was at his core a good person. Whether or not he had, in his own private moments, admitted to all of his sins is something that we could not know.
Good is not enough. It wasn't until I had fully divorced myself and fully admitted what I have done. The movement in my mouth slowed. There is no room for half measures.
Mr. Price, I'm not sure what full measures you would need to take, but you don't seem to have been much for debauchery or sinning, so I would think this would not be a Herculean task for you.
Then you must not know me well.
That is, of course, always possible.
This will be a tough task, but I'm doing this for Walter. This is the cause of it. I've got to put an end to it.
Did Echeverria ever present himself as like a father figure? Would he ever like call himself that?
No. He was a leader. He organized a cult of personality. He was a scholar. But he was not a father.
He seemed to focus intently on the production of nectar. Did you ever contribute to those efforts?
This is a drug that we've traced all around the world.
It's not a drug, it's a living thing that comes from these mouths.
Trammell began to manufacture and distribute.
Yes. It sounds like the Samson Trammell I remember. I remember Ramon had friends in the police department, in the State Department, had made overtures to the organized crime Los Angeles to distribute this nectar. But what it became of the reach, I do not
know. I can tell you it is a growing plague upon this earth. It's far-reaching. It's not just in California any longer.
Ramon, as I said, had plans within plans. Lies upon lies. The only one who truly knew his aims was Ramon himself. To some he told that we venerated one deity. To others, something different. I've since learned and believe that he deceived Samson and I on this front as well.
We came upon some of the research that others around the world have done in an attempt to better, more accurately identify which entity this is. The Savitri that we referenced earlier had notes on many entities that she had theorized could have been this entity, but there does not seem to be agreement or consensus anywhere that we've come across so far.
That was by design, I believe. Ramon wanted to obfuscate the truth so that even those closest to him did not know what his ultimate aims were and whether those aims continue to his death. He told those in Los Angeles it was Golgoroth, but he told Samson and I it was not. I have read through the pages of the revelations of Glagi. Volumes my colleague Acuna had studied. Volumes that pointed to the location of the temple that we unearthed. I believe but the true entity was the prisoner of Glagi. The maw of mouth was a creature or a power, a god worshipped in Aksum along the Red Sea during the 5th century before the birth of Christ. And since that time, cults have surged, decayed, and surged, and decayed within the region. That is why I believe the temple bore the mouth, and why I bear the mouth as well. When we first arrived, the region was in a state of dormancy, according to local Lafar and to our research. Worshippers of the Maw had not been seen for some time, and the Guardians wished to remain that way.
It does appear the people of Dalal have taken up worship of pain and self-mutilation, and I fear that that's just an extension of the site, infecting them and causing them to worship this deity.
And it does seem that every location has a different emotional excess. Los Angeles continued to be
a different sin.
Yes, indeed.
The cult is active. I fear this. I have seen wanderers in the wastes when I venture out for supplies. And the wind feels like it is watching me, tracking me. I heard there was a creature or a being, a name for a thing that we have already named in our discourse. But they called it the agony on the wind. Bartolo, and I believe that it was just the breath of the mouth, the maw, the agony. Was the exaltation and the pain of the prisoner of Glagi. You see this? You know it's to be true.
Yes, yes. We have felt the wind, we have heard it in our travels here. I'm not sure how much you're aware of the political climate in this area, but we traveled quite a way through the desert for safe purposes and were beset the closer and closer we came to here.
With nightmares, which felt like visions. They felt true.
I believe wind surges for me. And it knows that I have cut off conduit for its deity to reach into the world. And it wants to free this.
He gestures to his mouth and his stomach.
So that the creature can have yet another voice.
I have not been having dreams. Do you think that is why? I have also removed a conduit?
Do not know. There was when we first dug up the temple and reached the inner chamber, there were reports from the laborers and from the scientists that they too had suffered dreams. But I did not. I slept soundly. It wasn't until I sent Ramon my update on our findings and a portion of the frieze, a dagger that we had taken from the doorway into the inner chamber, that my dreams went dark.
Does Shyma still have that stone that she brought with her?
If you do, yeah, if you think you carry it, sure.
No, it's probably in the camel's head.
That doesn't sound fun though, Maitreyi.
If you're okay with it, I would love for
I
her
literally
to
put it in your court.
Amazing. So
It's a really cool knife that should be on hand at all times.
She pulls out the Gila dagger that she just got from Marie, and also the black stone that she brought from Markham. Says and kind of just shows it to him, and doesn't quite know the question she wants to ask, but just kind of shows him and looks kind of meaningfully at him.
Echevarria used a knife that he
like you just be careful on what you lead to. Like suddenly my ears just blew up.
Sorry. Echevarria used a knife for the ritual at the site, right? And then
so
Joe
when Shyma produces it, when she produces like the stone, like his eyes go wide.
Oh, the stone!
Like, so if you recall, there was in Douglas Henslow's things, there were a couple different things. One of them was like a stone piece that was sharpened. essentially kind of look like a dagger in some way. And that's what Shyma has been carrying with her.
Oh, I thought it was the eye thing that she had. Sorry, that was my bad.
It's shaped sort of like it's shaped in a way like with a sharpened edge to it.
Mm-mm.
So like when we say dagger, it's not metal. Like there's no metal to it. It's just the shape of it. And so when you hold this up, Shyma, his eyes go wide.
He's like, yes. That, when we found the doors, there was a linchpin that was sealing them, piercing the doors themselves. Was that? When we removed it, we were able to gain entry. Yes. That dagger, that whatever it was one of the objects I sent back to Ramon.
Sharon kind of looks around. I've been trying to find the reason. This is the reason.
What do you mean, Miss Oberon?
I have not been having dreams the way you all have. You remember I said that
Yes.
to you?
I remember you said that.
And
So because you've had this on you?
I think so.
Grateful that we had something that acted as protection, even though we didn't know.
Yes. We were, and her attachment goes back to Professor Arias. We were headed to the Dream Scourge Halls to find details about this asceticism ritual and discipline for Mr. Price, but if you can help him here, and she kind of looks to the rest of them like, do we need to go forward?
I think we're here. I think this is it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had more to go.
We were looking for.
We'll take that back.
We found Mr. Ayers. This is what we needed to help Mr. Price.
Ayers, do you happen to recognize this too? And I go and I search, and it's like at the very bottom of one of my rucksacks. I pull out a really nice fountain pen.
What's it from?
I stole it from Daniel Lohman's office, and it's been in my inventory this whole time.
And he looks at you and he says, I believe that is a pen, is it not?
A fountain pen.
Does it have any meaning?
It's
really nice.
It is an instrument that you use to write correspondence. I see the...
Okay, maybe you... And I put it back in my bag.
Designs have changed since I was active in academia.
It writes really well. I don't think you really need it. You're writing on the walls here.
As I have said, I am willing to instruct your friend in the rituals of self-denial if he chooses.
Rituals of self-denial.
That's what I came here for. Way to clear this thing.
Well,
I commit myself here.
Then I invite you all to my home. You are welcome here. Sit, rest, cool yourselves. Mr. Price and I will be at this a long while.
Could
So-
I ask you one more question about Echeverria?
Yes.
Did he ever have any sort of interest or hobby or obsession with spiders or arachnids, maybe scorpions?
No, did not. But he was a collector of antiquities. Some of those bore such markings. Nothing that I know of significance.
Thank you.
I also have a fun question, Professor. The nectar was, we believe, used as a lure to drive willing participants for the occult practices, but given that it's not the god that we thought it was, it is some other entity. Is the nectar a lure or is it something else?
I do not know.
All right, thank you.
So, as you all settle in, maybe you go and fill in Jerome.
Willwood, for sure.
We see Patrick led off to down one of these separate paths where he and George Ayres begin to study the rituals of self-denial. And that is where we'll go ahead and stop for tonight, and we will pick up on that next week and see just how boring and dull Patrick gets to become now for the rest of the campaign.
Oh my
no.
gosh.
I'm going to be working against you the whole time, Patrick.
Oh, for sure. You, for sure, with all of the temptations and all of the things. But we did it.
I did help
We
you
did it.
already stealing a bottle of alcohol from you.
Oh, Payne, you did? You did remove? You did remove?
Inadvertently.
Yeah.
Great
guys done?
session. Tons of lore.
Yeah, for sure.
No, keep going.
No, I need. It's hard to talk like him.
Yeah,
You
that was
notice
rough. That was really good.
how many
Yeah.
times I coughed? Yeah, it's very noticeable.
Lots and lots of
Figure,
drinking of water.
Dude hasn't talked in 10 years, and it's really dry. I would imagine. Yeah. So, anyhow, you think there was no deaths, but we don't know for certain that what you dug up was really Bev. It could be her doppelganger. Could be, something
Oh,
different.
goodness.
I don't know. Sounds ridiculous.
Dr. Keverly B.
Yeah. It's just, you notice she doesn't have a goatee, so she's not from the mirror universe, so it's okay. All right.
True.
Let us do our closing plugs, and we will begin, as always, by telling Stephen to hush, zip it, and we'll throw it to Maitreyi so she can tell us what she does on the internet.
I am Maitreyi's games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system tabletop content that centers the German playing experience.
Fantastic. And there's been a lot of activity on that channel, I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, so which is awesome.
We'll see. Thank you. We'll see how long this stint lasts.
Hey, yeah, it's good stuff too. I really enjoyed it. So
Thank
the
you.
ones I've
That
watched.
means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know what else is awesome? This guy right here, Steven. Steven, tell us about the awesome things that you're doing.
You just pointed off screen, actually, because
On my screen, because I'm mirrored, I'm
response.
pointing to you. But really,
yeah. Second, Maitreyi's awesome channel. That's actually how I found you, and I thought you were cool, and that's why I reached out to you.
I
A lot
found
of
you.
fun.
So,
I've
yeah.
heard that.
Like
Wow.
how I've recruited her. I can say I found her.
Steven found
I'm ahead.
you. Wow.
I made her famous.
Wow. Hey,
You're like, you know
hear
what?
it,
I'm gonna keep digging.
you can't hear it. I don't
I'm
know.
just gonna keep digging. I'm just gonna go
You don't know what
200%.
is through.
Changing subject now for no reason. Yeah, I made a tabletop RPG. It's called Huckleberry. It's a Weird West action horror game. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. We're gearing up for a print run soon. It's only a few short months away. We're going to do a crowdfunder for that. You should go to huckleberryrpg.com and sign up for notifications about when it goes live.
Nice.
Fan freaking tastic. And I was doing some reading, some little editing this week on Huckleberry, and there's some cool shit coming. So keep your eye out. It's gonna be great. Okay. As for streaming schedule, what do we got up next? Monday, we are playing through some Time Watch. So if you like some time travel shenanigans using the Gumshoe system, you should come hang out with us on Monday. It's a lot of fun. We had a dinosaur talk, even though we didn't have a dinosaur. We had a mammoth, but mammoths are still cool. And then Tuesday, we are playing Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, the role-playing game. Which uses the cipher system, and
This super impressive.
Yeah, it is 1987, and we are all working at a national park that is a living fleshy thing, and we go down into a sphincter or some shit. I don't know. It's weird. And then next Thursday, we've got Swords of the Serpentine, and we are in the final arc. Very excited. Melissa has become matriarch of the family. It's been a long journey getting there. And now we get to see just how our family, how they end, how they go out. And then next Friday, you can see this guy this way or this way. I don't know, whichever way. He's Steven running us through some Magnus Archives. All right. So we're going to rate somebody. Let's see who we got. Let's do a little Dead Aussie Gamer. So they're playing some Pathfinder. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the end screen. But everyone have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you all later. Bye-bye.
I'll be seeing you.